everybody said we're asking.
Resource meeting
Last year's charitable contribution.
205.
Yeah, yeah, Frankie.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the beautiful weather that you have blessed us with. We thank you for bringing us together to do the business of the Cherokee people, and we ask for your guidance and your direction. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Treasurer, roll call, please.
Sir. Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Jordan. Here, sir. Gil Anglin.
Honey.
Keith Austin.
Here.
Jack Baker. Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Joe Byrd. Sean Crittenden.
Honey.
Don Garvin. Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Wanda Hatfield. Dick Lay.
Here.
James Taylor. Here. David Thornton. Victoria Vespas. David Walkingstick. Brian Warner.
Honey.
John Masters. We do have a quorum.
Moving on down. Roll call.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Approved. Motion to approve the January 16th regular session meeting.
All in favor?
All opposed? Motion carries.
Bruce, he's quick.
Moving on down to the
Johnny on the
reports.
spot.
Mr. Bruce Davis.
Good afternoon. Good to see everyone. We must be doing something right. You all moved us up on the agenda, so we're happy about that. Get out of here before 5 o'clock, maybe. First of all, Councilman Snell, I want to brag on our facilities group that put on the groundbreaking Friday. We thought it went off without a hitch. Put up the tents, helped serve. The grounds were in good shape. The weather held out, stick. We enjoyed it. So glad that all of you that attended were there. And Taylor's here. He's been out sick. I want to give Taylor a hand if you don't care. This group for putting that on for us. So I want to commend him for that. So with that being said, I'll entertain any questions you might have. I know you got my report.
Have any questions for Bruce? Yes.
Thank you. Hey, Bruce, you might have seen my roach emails.
I saw that.
I know that's quite an email, isn't it? But, boy, it's of course, everybody knows it's a real deal.
It is.
And I know it takes money.
Right.
But if we could talk about it, I know you guys, if it's somebody my age, go get you some hot shot. But had some elders having quite a little process through the application and do their qualifying stuff. But
Right.
if we could get some money
What we
for something like that, would you be opposed to
No,
to helping?
and we can do it. I answered your email, and we use a contractor, here at the complex, and we could contact that person and set up a time to go out there and take care of that.
All right, and that particular one,
Right,
old Tippy, now she's the elder's elder,
okay,
and and it's a process.
okay,
But this guy, it's brothers, and one of them's sure enough disabled, and
okay.
and I'd still like to maybe look for a little money, coming up, because call you maybe one or two times is all right, but
Right,
I like the idea of, hey, they need help. Bruce don't have an application.
right,
When you get to it, appreciate it.
right. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, Bruce. Harley.
Hello, Harley.
Bruce, that aquaponics setup that one of
Yes,
your
sir.
guys, are you using it someplace? If you're not,
Taylor has one that we got that day
yes, sir.
that they were here,
Yeah.
and I think it's over there in his shop.
If you'd
What was
like
your
to
question?
I'd like to move it to Jay, and we'll get.
Would you?
Mark, just something we need to start experimenting with and see what
Okay.
we can do. 'Cause
Well, I'll visit with Taylor and see.
I haven't talked to Mark about it, so
Okay.
he might not be happy with it, but,
We might want to talk to Mark and then,
I'll talk to him. I think he would be willing. The reason I bring it up is because it's gardening time again.
It
I'm
is,
sure
it is.
He does a good job on gardening, but this is something else we might look at and expand.
that brings up another question. I think Speaker and I talked about it. with the greenhouses, we've talked about some of those too.
Yeah, yes, and we could get some more room up there if we need a place for a greenhouse and stuff also, so.
Okay.
I think with that being there, I think it's starting to be utilized more and more by
It is,
kids.
yes.
4-H kids and our ag kids and stuff like that, take some tours of it. And if we had that system that Taylor has got in their shop and gave them set up at that, I think that's more to gardening, so the more we can get up there, or any place, it doesn't have to be there, but
Right.
if we got it, I'd like to see it put to use. So
Okay,
talk to Mark and I'll talk to him too.
we'll visit about it.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a comment.
Yes.
Hey, Bruce,
Yes, sir.
what would be the cost of utilizing some of those projects as Harley was talking about? I
The
know.
aquaponics
Yes.
projects?
And are we utilizing it now?
We plan on using it this spring.
We haven't used it.
No, we haven't yet. We bought it, of course, at the end of the summer. It was hard to get the fish, you know, they have fish in them. We did buy some, put it in there. Of course, they died because of the heat. And this spring was going to be our prima donna, you know, trial of it, if you will. Carol grows a lot of vegetables and, you know, plants and stuff that she uses in the communities for there's a grow program or something that she works with. And they take a lot of the plants to the Head Starts and stuff like that, and we plan on using it to start the seeds.
Yeah. I get asked a lot about people that have those greenhouses and garden that produce, you know, the garden things, and how do they get into providing those for like elder centers or Head Start? I know there's got to be approval somewhere, USDA or somewhere there, and I don't have the answer for them. So, Sarah, you might look into that and see how that, you know, that process works.
I know they have some funding for seasonal high tunnels, which are a little bit different than greenhouses. And they've mentioned that before, so I'll get with Bruce and his group and we can talk about that.
Okay. All right, appreciate your group, Bruce.
You bet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilor Warner.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thank you. Just to add on to that, what I did, I took public health educators there at Redbird. They'd got a grant and they had a little money and they had got a system, but it was just sitting there. They were going to put it somewhere and they didn't. I contacted the Brushy Community Action Association, which is our community group there. Little project money involved. They got with Brushy Public School there. They're vested, the community group's vested, I invested with them, and they're going to start running. So, I mean, that's another avenue to just, if somebody else has other grants, and the schools can get grants sometimes that we can't or whatever, and then they're using it as it's kind of a microbiology lab, it's a botany lab, it's a horticulture, it's everything. Plus the local citizens, they've got a health workout facility there next door. They built that building, and a local guy that sells lumber and stuff, he provided the lumber and everything. So I mean, that's just another avenue to look at. So I appreciate you.
Right.
Thank you, Curtis.
Yes. More questions for Bruce? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on down to real estate services, Ginger Brown. Well, hello, Ginger.
Not quite the same persuasion, but I believe you guys have her report, and if there's any questions, I'll do my best to try and answer them for you or relay them to her.
Do you have any questions for this young gentleman? Yes, Harold.
And I know Ginger and I had talked about this, but there's a full-blood lady, Foreman's the name, the last name. They're trying to get their land probated, and I know these people don't have any money. And the judge had set a date, like 2 weeks ago, and they postponed the date. So she called me again, and I know she's talked to Ginger about to see if we could help, but apparently they went through the UKB tribe to start with. Now they don't have any funds, so she's come to me and asked if I could find out. So they're wanting some help with the probate, but I think the problem is, since it's already started into another government, I guess to say that no, we can't pick it up. We should do a little digging around on that, Joel, to see if there's anything you can do to help them, because I know they don't have any funds.
Okay.
And you almost need an attorney there on the probate.
Right.
I hate to see them be cheated out of what little land they have left down there. these are full-blood people, and I know they don't understand laws. If you check into it, I appreciate it. Maybe
Okay,
we
I'll
can-
relay the message
Okay,
to her.
all
Yes,
right.
sir.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
More questions? Well, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Moving on down to environmental programs, Mr. Tom Elkins.
Not to be confused with Ginger Brown.
Good afternoon. How are you folks? I think you have our report, and I'll be happy to take any questions, but I would like to point out one thing on this that I think is of some importance, and that's on the second page under B, Underground Storage Tank Program. That's just something, I think I pointed it out in the past, but it kind of showed its importance not too long ago. We call it the CRUST tool, but we use all the acronyms like that. It's Cumulative Risk for Underground Storage Tanks. And it's a tool that we use that we put in a bunch of different variables, and we can tell or at least estimate the risk of underground storage tanks leaking and causing a problem. We put in the age of the tank, the type of the tank, whether it has protection for being corroded, how far it is away from, we call them receptors, it's people, wells, things like that, and it rates it. And so, you know, we work with a lot of other tribes too. There's 45 total, so 44, I think, besides the Cherokee Nation. And we share this with them. We're funded by EPA to do it, but we do really a lot more work than what EPA funds us for. But because the guys in our office have went together and created this tool, and it's really, I mean, they began to use it all over the country now too. And it's just something, one more thing that the Cherokee Nation's done that, you know, we've benefited ourselves greatly because we helped get with CNB and evaluate the tanks that were out here at Outpost 1, and they were really in danger of having major issues. They've had issues in the past, and they were really on the track to go downhill quick. And we talked with them about that, and that's kind of what got them replacing those tanks. So we're really glad they did that. And again, this helps other tribes, and it'll be used all over. And if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Yes.
Yes, that was good on those tanks here with our convenience store. And I know you probably had a part in the joint filing of the holding up the removal at Kerr-McGee.
Well, my supervisor, Sarah, has been heading that up, but yes, I've heard a lot about it.
Well, we don't want to steal her thunder here.
There you go, because there's a lot of it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Any more questions? Tom?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah. Secretary of Natural Resources, Sarah Hill.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I expected that probably the thing that everyone would be most interested to hear about is what happened at Sequoia Fuels. So I know I sent out an email to everyone to sort of give you the basics. That site goes back, it's got decades of history. The thing is sort of complicated from a regulatory standpoint because there's been a lot of different actions that have happened there over the years. But the short version of all of that is that there are about 11,000 tons of what we call the more highly contaminated material at that site that's got more uranium in it than most of the other. There's other contaminated material at the site, but it's not as contaminated as the material there at Sequoia Fuels. That's that raffinate material. And there had been a settlement agreement entered into years ago between the state, the tribe, and Sequoia Fuels to have that moved off-site. And we really feel like under that settlement agreement, they had to move it off-site, or they had to, I mean, the settlement agreement, that's what the settlement agreement was, that they would find some way to move it off-site. And then they let us know that they were planning to store it on-site. And we felt like that really wasn't consistent with what they had agreed to do. So with the state and the nation together, we filed a request from Judge Payton in Sequoia County that he restrained them from placing that material into the cell. So that's where we're at with it. They've since filed a challenge to that we're going to respond to at the Oklahoma Supreme Court, which is, you know, completely in line with what I expected to happen. So that's a legal challenge that we will continue to work with the state. They've been good partners in that. Clayton Eubanks from the Oklahoma Attorney General's Office, and Pam Dizekis from the Department of Environmental Quality really have worked closely with me on that. So that's been a good partnership and something I think is, working with them to get something like this accomplished makes it, a lot easier for everybody. So that's the short version of what's going on at Sequoia Fuels. It's not the only thing going on. There's the big To Bridge a Gap conference going on at Catoosa at the Hard Rock this week. Sheila Bird has, even she works hard anyway, she's worked herself into a new state trying to get everything ready for this. And I think it's going to be a great conference. We've got some really good speakers lined up. Our keynote speaker is going to be Larry Roberts. He'll be there on Thursday night. There's a cultural night. She just went all out and tried to fit as much education and culture as she could into that time period, so I'm really looking forward to it. Any of you that can stop by, we're happy to always see our tribal council at any events like that, so we would welcome your presence there, of course. And then I'd be happy to take any questions.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sarah, have you heard anything about the diamond pipeline that's going to go from to Arkansas? Where do we stand? I'm getting some calls about it, and I just kind of want to know.
Right. So the Diamond Pipeline is a pipeline they've got planned for construction. It's not going to go through the Cherokee Nation. I think it maybe crosses one tiny corner, maybe, of the Cherokee Nation. It will follow the historic Trail of Tears, which I think has been one of the main complaints that people have raised about it. I think there's a little misconception sometimes that Cherokee Nation can either approve or disapprove a pipeline. No one, if it doesn't go through our property, we don't have the ability to either approve or disapprove it. So we have been in contact with them. They are required to consult with tribes, and so there's been some of that consultation process with Sheila's office, with the Tribal Historic Preservation Office, and they've had to, jump through some hoops that the federal law requires them to jump through. But when it comes to actually constructing the pipeline, that's not something that we can either approve or disapprove.
Okay, well, the reason why, and then one that I've talked to in the Tulsa area, they said that the protectors are standing ready to take action.
Right, and I'm sure that there will be some, there are some people that see any new fossil fuel pipelines as absolutely bad and unnecessary and should be stopped, and there are people that say, hey, this is Oklahoma, we're happy. There's lots of different opinions about that. Our point of view of it is our interaction with it at this point has been very small because it doesn't cross Cherokee Nation. It's been more in the historic preservation realm that we've had any contact with those folks.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilman Sid?
They're up there sharpening axes up there. Is that all right?
That's fine.
What's the testing that goes on land to be sure there's no artifacts or anything in the soil?
Yeah, it's like tribal monitoring, so
They call it something, compact testing or something, or what's it called? Anybody know? Your department's the one that does it.
right. I know they'll send archaeologists. I don't know what name you're searching for, but archaeologists will go in and they'll do testing, like shovel tests, to see whether they find artifacts in different locations, and that's something that the law requires them to do when they're doing these kinds of projects and receive federal funding.
So we do that in-house, and so my question is like, why don't we use our own people to do those tests instead of contracting it out?
Well, we don't do that kind of work in-house generally. That stuff is usually contracted out by private companies. So if you're going to build a highway, you'll have to come in and do these sorts of tests, and they have to contract to have that work done. So Cherokee Nation we don't do that kind of work here, the actual archaeological work in-house.
The actual testing to be sure there's no graves or anything?
Right, we don't do that work in-house. That's usually done by archaeological firms.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Yes. Yes, you're up.
Thank you, sir. The Bridge the Gap, did you bring an agenda, or can you send us?
I can send you an agenda. I don't have it with me, but I can forward it to you. I think we've had a final agenda several times, and finally Sheila said, if you change it again, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. So I think it's really final now, and I'll send it out to everyone.
Thank you.
Yes. Any more questions?
Good report.
Thank you, sir.
Got one more.
Yes,
Councilor Garvin.
yes, Garvin. Mr. Garvin.
Thank you. Is there anything you can share with the council concerning the Clinton
I don't have anything to share with the council on the clean line. As I understand it, the council's resolution will continue until such time as the council decides to change that resolution, so I don't have any update for you on that. There's no documents or anything I can share.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Sarah. Good
Thank you.
report. Moving on down to old business, and I see none pending. Moving to new business, 17017. Jack Baker, would you take that, please?
Yes. This is a resolution agreeing to accept the U.S. Forest Service Southern Region's apology for damage to a trailer tier site in the Cherokee National Forest. And this is in conjunction with the To Bridge a Gap Conference, where the Southern Region Director will be there, and they've asked for resolutions to accept his apology. And I know the UKB has one, or it's my understanding they have one, as well as the Creek Nation. And there was a report, there is a report included in your packet, and if you look at pages 21 and 22, you'll see some of the pictures of the site. This was part of the original trailer tiers out of North Carolina, although this is in East Tennessee, but it's one that all the Cherokees from North Carolina went by. And the road has been that way was 175 years until the Forestry Service employees went in and did 35 of those tank traps or berms in less than a mile, period. And it's my belief that it was done intentionally to destroy the trailer tiers by an employee that was retiring and was upset with the archaeologist who was very much in favor of obtaining the road. But the Forestry Service has spent a lot of money in meetings with the various tribes and wanting to know exactly what they want done to repair the site and so on. So anyway, and I understand that Chief Baker has agreed to be there at the meeting to accept the apology. So I make a motion that it be approved, and also, if approved, that it go to full council tonight.
Second the motion.
Got a motion, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Goes to the council tonight, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's a good one, Jack. I appreciate you carrying the ball on that.
Yes, I'd like to be a sponsor on that.
Okay?
Yeah.
Who else wants to be a
You got a
sponsor on
comment?
it? Okay. Most everybody, Shelley.
Councilman Walker Stick, you got a comment?
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
On the, I've been reading on Facebook, the bridge there in Fayetteville where they're thinking about doing a mural or something over at on the Trailer Tiers site. Does that have to come through your committee, being on the Trailer Tiers Association, or approval status of if the art is authentic, or is it does it represent Cherokees? And are you familiar with this bridge, this project?
No, I'm not familiar with it, but the Trailer Tier Association would not have approval on that. No.
Okay.
Where is the bridge?
It's in Fayetteville. There's a bridge, and it's on the Trailer Tiers route, and it's going viral over Facebook. But they're seeking artists to come in and paint like a mural over there, and I think there's $5,000 in for the budget to do this. So I'm not just want to be sure that the art is aligns with our culture and. But I didn't know if your association had anything to do with that.
No. So we need to find out who's actually doing it
It's the city of Fayetteville.
City of Fayetteville.
and see if they're going to consult with the nations on that. Which they should, but if there's no federal
Required to.
funds, then it would not be required.
Is that it?
That's it. Thank you, Chair.
And moving on down to
35, that mile.
announcements. I've got an announcement. I would like to My wife has passed away about 3 weeks ago. I'd like to thank all the council and the Cherokee Nation and everybody that stepped out in the support. I had bukus of cards and phone calls and food, and I really appreciate everybody's thought. And I got her buried, and we had a nice, beautiful service for her, and I really thank the Lord and everybody that was there and participated. Thank you very much. We moved on to announcements. The next meeting will be held March the 20th. It says the 13th in our book.
Correct.
It will be on March the 20th.
Yes.
And,
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
there's a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Thank you very much. See you March the 20th.